Hello everybody! This time we're taking a look at Cryptark, specifically the newest update they have added to Cryptark, even though I haven't done a video on Cryptark yet because I've been kind of working my way up to it. Cryptark is by Alien Trap Games. I believe those are the guys behind Capsized, is that correct? Anyway, that was really good if that's the case. It is a arcade-style space shmup, in a way, with some RPG elements, and it is in early access right now. So yes, and it is an early access game currently, as you can see. Update 0.454, as in not finished yet. But what's here is pretty promising, and I would like to show you why. Specifically, I'm going to show you the Rogue mode, and the reason I'm doing that, even though it isn't the kind of main game mode, as it's considered, is because it is what they have just added. It was the biggest sort of update they've actually done so far. It was update number 2 in terms of the big content updates. And as you can see here, that was when it was pushed out. So, let's do it. I will be making some references back to the normal campaign as I'm playing to show you, or just to kind of talk about some of the differences in how it works, because the actual standard campaign is mechanically more complex. But the gameplay is, of course, the same. So, Rogue mode, here we go. In Rogue mode, you get to choose the space mech that you're actually using from the beginning. But as it was added very recently, I don't have anything else unlocked currently, so I'm going to show you the oldie but goodie, the standard gunhead. And that is its equipment. So you'll get to see what all that is once we actually get into it. Here we go. Loads up nice and quick, and this is Cryptark. You are tasked to destroy the core. Any Gradius fan will be immediately at home. And you will be shown a ship, and every time you destroy said core, you'll move on to a different, bigger, more difficult ship with more things in it. And every ship has various systems in it that interact in different ways, and eventually you will try and make your way to the central core, and blow it up. Upon doing so, you will immediately move on in Rogue mode to the next ship. So make sure all of your bits are in order, because you're going. You got no choice at that point. And as you can see, we've got some stuff like an alarm system, which I may want to disable before I do so, and a shield generator, which I will need to disable before I go for the core, and as well as some other optional systems that may make my life easier to disable. And I can also plan my attack a little bit from the map, because all these little doors are different ways I can enter the ship from the outside. And there are other various things that we'll see once we get in there. So now, when you first start, at least as this guy, I don't have any of these keys. So there are some doors that need keys, and you don't start with any. So I'm going to have to go through a basic white door. Boop. And here we go. I am now a mech. And there's a key. Fancy that. Yeah, keys are gotten from key terminals. And, well, now you're seeing the combat already. First thing you may notice is the graphic style is pretty impressive. It is very striking, and it's got a pretty hard sci-fi aesthetic to it. It is really kind of dismal. It's colorful, but the colors aren't particularly striking, except for on specific things. Generally, auras, energy colors, things like that. A lot of the machines themselves only have accents of very striking colors, and the rest of the colors are duller tones, which makes for a really interesting aesthetic, with lots of bright energies flying around and things, and some pretty gritty metal everywhere else, which is a nice aesthetic. Actually, I really like it. And the actual metal makeup of everything is grimy and imperfect and, you know, very far future sci-fi style, which is pretty great. It's very industrial, is what I would call it. Highly industrial, in fact. So this is you, and you have various weapons that you can choose from. Now, in the campaign mode, you actually have money, and you will actually get to choose from various ships to raid. Every time you beat one, instead of immediately moving on to the next one, you'll move back to this sort of home base ship, where you will get rewards in money, depending on, you know, what you did, and if you completed certain optional objectives you were given, etc., etc., during your last mission. And you will use this money to repair yourself, to rearm yourself and maybe buy new equipment. In Rogue mode, however, that home ship doesn't exist, and you find your equipment in these pods, which are basically like treasure chests. So if I go to this one, it will contain a machine gun type weapon of some kind. In this case, it is the medium machine gun, which is what I have, only it's the smart machine gun. It's a bit more powerful. It has smart tracking bullets, and I definitely want that before I leave, but ammo is of course limited. So basically, because of course the first ship is fairly easy, I'm just gonna spend a bunch of my basic machine gun ammo going through this first basic ship. I don't really see a point in using a key to get in there. I am then going to track back before I destroy the central core to that chest, get the machine gun, and then complete this ship. Because of course, once you beat the core, you can't go back. So that is one of the main key differences between Rogue mode and the campaign mode, is that you don't have money in Rogue mode, and the campaign mode is a pretty difficult balance, I would say, of money and time. You have a time limit in campaign mode for every ship, and although you're no longer penalized for going over the time limit, you get a large money reward for completing the ship in under the time limit. It's basically at par. So if you're able to do that repeatedly, you'll get a lot of money, and more money means better technology, more repairs, so you can reliably take on harder ships, which of course have better rewards, which means even more money. And also there are various optional objectives, and a lot of them involve making the game a bit harder for you in various ways, like, say, removing some of your hull points, going into a mission with a smaller maximum health pool, or with a smaller amount of ammunition and things like that, which will give you a large reward if you're able to do it, and if you have the guts to actually attempt to do so. And if you have more money in the first place, you may have some extra backup abilities and better pieces of equipment to be able to do that with. So it is in your best interest to actually try and get a large amount of money in the campaign mode. Ooh, an energy weapon. That's always nice. Helix caster. Let's try this. Now, I like to keep the ram spike a lot of times because it's an infinite ammo melee weapon, but the thing about energy weapons are that they also have infinite ammo. It just takes them a minute to recharge usually, so I'm going to replace the ram spike with this helix caster. Let's see, what is it? Whoa. Alright, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, that seems nice. Alright, so there are all kinds of enemies around, and there are lots and lots and lots of enemy types. But one thing that is pretty standard about the enemies is that they will try to kill you in various horrible ways, and it is your job to make sure that you kill them first. But that is easier said than done. You may have noticed that the ship is a bit maze-like, and the ships do get significantly larger as you go. Significantly larger as you go. And there are more and more different kinds of these systems. As you're seeing, I'm blowing up and disabling various kinds of these systems. That's a tripwire. I don't want to trigger an alarm and get a bunch of enemies to spawn on me. There we go. Nice. All the door locks totally gone. And if you want, you can, of course, go to your map and actually get a detail on all of the systems that are in this particular ship. And it will tell you about, you know, what they do and what they're linked to, etc., etc. And you can also actually access information about the different kinds of enemies, which is really, really cool. I really like this feature. If you hover over a specific enemy that you don't know what it is, like I don't know what a jackal is, for instance, I can just hover over here and say, okay, this is what a jackal is, and it will tell me. It is a militarized guard drone with a phase blaster. It's the enemy you've seen many times in this video already that will try to kill me horribly, and they don't usually succeed, but they gang up on you pretty quickly. Actually, there isn't even an alarm system anymore, so can this thing... I don't remember if it tripping an alarm can actually do much, because I destroyed the... Oh, turns out it probably can. Alright. I can take care of them. So, another thing that this game definitely does right is the player feedback that it gives you on combat. Its combat is absolutely great because it has a huge amount of impact to the weapons. You may notice the like all the sounds for the energy weapons and for the projectile weapons, they're all really, really good. The screen shakes when you fire your machine gun. It's got these nice glowing rounds that shoot out. You have all these bouncing shell casings that go everywhere. It's really, really meaty combat, and it feels great. And a slime mortar is pretty nice, but I'm going to keep my grenades, actually. Or should I? Yeah, I'll keep my grenades for now. But the sound effects actually go a long way to make the game pretty atmospheric with its weird, kind of hard sci-fi theme, and the kind of dehumanized theme of just fighting through a ship full of horrible automated things trying to kill you. But the player feedback that the combat gives is just wonderful. There are a lot of weapons and other consumables and objects to use, and also you may have noticed that you have a special ability. In this case, it's a dash for this particular robot, and it's of course useful for bursts of mobility to get out of very, very bad situations. I'm trying to get back really quick to the machine gun over here, and it all combines to make a really, really good combat experience. This is definitely a combat-focused game. In Rogue mode, of course, it's pretty much all about combat. That's what you're going to be doing the entire time. In campaign mode, you have the management of choosing which ship you want to actually target next, and, planning your attack, equipping your mech with what you think would be best for this particular mission, managing the risk of what optional objectives you want to take on, depending on how risky you feel they are for you, how much more difficult they may make the mission. Some of them are very crazy, like, go in with 3 hull points. It's like, oh my god, I don't think I can do that, but maybe you can. And it all kind of culminates in the experiences being different from each other, but I am definitely glad that they're both available. I like them both being available at the same time in the game because not having a time limit is actually really, really nice, but I wouldn't want to take the time limit away from the main game because I feel it adds a lot to it. I enjoy having a mode without the time limit. I'm kind of cooking that a little long. Crap. There we go. And the core was destroyed. So now we're moving on to the next one, just like that. So yeah, this would be the Rogue mode of Cryptark. Now, right now, where the game really shines is its combat. So, if you're looking for a combat-focused game, an arcade space shooter, something like that, something that kind of tickles that itch, this is that. It doesn't have a story particularly. Its campaign mode is not particularly long right now, but it's highly replayable because of all of the items and things there are to find, all the technologies there are to find, the various vaults of technology that you can actually obtain. And the Rogue mode is obviously highly replayable. Oh god, I hurt myself despite its very nature. I'm on a repair. The game is meant to be extremely replayable for obvious reasons, and it does that, even though, of course, it is in its early stages. It's, roughly at half completion, I guess you could technically say, because it's version 0.454. It still has a lot of content on offer in terms of what is available for you to do, what is actually there to play right now. There are several different ship types which have their own themes. Different ship types will have different combinations of systems available. Some of them indeed have like huge drone factories, like a ship that's entirely one giant drone factory, or a ship that carries nukes, for instance, and that is highly dangerous, and yes, they can explode and take out pretty much the entire ship in a slow-moving, all-engulfing shockwave that you must escape. And it is as cool as it sounds. And there's a lot to it, and of course the final ship of the fleet is the Cryptark itself, and it is very, very challenging. The game doesn't hold your hand. It is very hard, and it definitely caters to a large number of playstyles as it stands right now because of the large variety of equipment that's available. You've got your energy weapons, your bullet weapons, your rockets, your cannons, your mortars, your missiles, your flamethrowers, and plasma weapons. You've got pretty much... Ooh, a chain gun. You've got pretty much everything you could ask for I think, to start with, and I can only see it going up from here. The game has been updated fairly recently, as you saw from the title screen, and they have been listening to feedback and adding more content, and I feel that they will be continuously updating as the lifespan continues, because it is getting attention on Steam, and it is actually doing well enough to support itself, I hope. And I hope I can actually provide some more coverage, because this is only the first video I'm going to do. Obviously, there's an entire mode to the game that is not being shown here that is actually the main mode. Oh, God. And there's a lot to the campaign, so that's something that I would like to get better at and show off all on its own. But if you're looking for something that's pretty cheap and cheerful right now, Cryptark is one of those games that's not really being talked about all that often, but is really, really worth a look, because it is unique in pretty much every sense of the word. It is highly satisfying to play because the combat is so visceral and so well managed in terms of its visuals and its, oh god, and its sounds. It's all really there, and I'm actually pretty happy to say that, because I really liked the look of it when I first saw it. Oh god. I'm gonna get this chain gun. So I'm glad to see that it's progressing nicely. So yeah, this is the first look for the channel at Cryptark, but there will be more, and I hope that I can get some interest going, because this is a game that I've just personally not seen enough about in the scene on YouTube, and I would like more people to be taking a look at it, because I think it deserves it. It's got a lot going for it. It shows real potential, and I don't feel like the potential is being squandered in any way. You know, I don't... Oh, God. I need this. I don't feel that it's, you know, being developed too slowly, or the devs are in danger of abandoning it, or whatever. It is an early access game, for now, that I am comfortable with recommending, because it is so enjoyable, and its price right now is only $13. For the amount you're getting, that's actually really quite good. And I think modding support would go a long way as well. But anyway, that's Cryptark for you. 13 bucks, really not a lot of money. I mean, you can spend a lot more in early access right now and get a lot less. This is a mechanically sublime game as it is, so I feel that it's a pretty safe investment if, of course, you are okay with the caveats of the early access system. Always be aware that, you know, things can go wrong. Things can remain unfinished, things can develop in ways that you maybe aren't okay with or didn't expect, and things can go sour. And that's always a caveat for this series that I do, but I still would like to do it because I believe in the early access system as it is. I just feel that it needs proper disclosure, and it needs the right games being focused on, because we always hear about the big ticket examples of games failing, going belly up, and developers abandoning their projects, but we don't hear as often about the little guys entering their way through. And there have been a lot of really good games that have come out of early access recently, completed, like, for instance, Darkest Dungeon, which I need to do another video on, Victor Vran. Those are all phenomenal games, and I would love to see Cryptark crawl its way out of early access eventually as a completed game with even more content than it has right now, because I actually feel that it is a really, really good base for a very solid space shooter that can carve its niche out as something pretty unique because of the like satisfying nature of its gameplay. It reminds me of a Vlambeer game with that really, really meaty, screen shaky, satisfying, like heavy feedback gameplay, and I like that. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like it, and definitely check out the game. The link is in the description below. It is, like I said, available on Steam Early Access right now for $15, or your regional equivalent. If you don't like the video, feel free to tell me why, and click the other, not as happy looking button. And, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Shoot. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna beat this ship. I'm gonna beat the ship, and I'm not gonna die. And I'm out of ammo for almost everything. I'm gonna die. Uh-oh. The game can get pretty hectic, by the way, and this isn't actually a particularly difficult ship, I'm just really, really bad at it. That's why I'm not doing the campaign mode yet. I'm not quite good enough to show it off as well as I want to, and I should have been using my shield this whole time. Whoops. Oh well. Thanks for watching. Ugh.